Good afternoon, folks. This is Robert Chappell, Executive Editor of Madison365 with your daily update for Monday, January 18th. Got the wrong logo. There you go. Now you can see us. It is introducing today Metcalfe's Mondays. Every Monday for the next little while, the next year or so. Metcalfe's Market is going to be bringing you the update, and I want to tell you about Metcalfe's Markets. Metcalfe's is a fourth-generation, family-owned and operated market with stores in Madison at Hilldale and behind West Town Mall and in Wauwatosa at 68th and State. They work to support local farmers and products and have 3,500 local products on their shelves. And you can order, because they care about your safety, you can order for pickup or delivery at shopmetcalfes.com anytime. The update today is also brought to you by Forward Theater Company presenting The Niceties, by Eleanor Burgess, a drama featuring clashing perspectives on race, history, and power in America. This virtual theater experience is streaming online beginning January 22nd through February 7th. Tickets for that are available now at forwardtheater.com. And we appreciate our sponsors helping us support the work that we do here today. Now, the news today on the coronavirus situation. You know me, I am very hesitant to be optimistic about anything, right? I'm very cautious about deciding that things are going to be okay. But I have to tell you, it's feeling to me like things are getting better. Things are not okay yet. Okay. Don't take a big deep breath and say, okay, good, we can go to the bar now. There were an awful lot of people around Wisconsin enjoying that big Packers victory in crowded bars with no masks on. Don't do that. Right? The NFC Championship game is coming up on Sunday. It's a big game. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch at home. Right? Okay, so, but despite all that, the numbers are looking really good. Statistically speaking, we're getting better. Okay? Today, as is usual on a Monday, we have fewer, a lower rate of testing, only about 5,100 tests today. Which is kind of normal for the past several Mondays, right? Because what we're reporting today, our tests have been processed over the past 2 days, which were obviously weekend. So just over 5,100 tests today, 1,083 new cases. So that's lower. That's about 21% rate just for today. But again, those are just reported today. Those are tests that have been run over the past several days. So when you put those tests and those results on the actual days that they happened, and then factor in all the repeat tests that don't get counted in that 1 day data, what you find is over the past 7 days, of all people who got tested, 24.6% tested positive. That's still about 1 in 4. Okay, that's still high. That was 24.9 yesterday. Right? That number has been going down every day. More importantly, the positive test rate for all tests, which takes into account all those that get tested more than once, is now 7.8. Now, that number has not been reported every day by the state for very long, only for the past, I want to say, like 3 months, right? But since like early October, I guess. If memory serves, it was about early October when they started reporting that number. The lowest it has ever been since that time was 8.1. Today it is 7.8. That represents the percent of all tests in the past 7 days that turned up positive results. That's really high, 7.8%. If we had anything resembling cogent governance on this matter, if we had a government and like basically both parties and a citizenry that was open to common sense public health measures, we would be closing non-essential retail and schools and bars and restaurants at 3%. Okay. So 7.8, still very high. So let's not be confused. The 7.8 is not like, oh, good, that's great, 7.8%. No, that's bad, right? But again, 7.8 is the lowest it's been in a long time. Like we can reasonably say that our infection back in November was literally raging out of control. And somehow, some way, without any government help, we got it under control, kind of. We got it headed in the right direction at least. Right, so we're down to 7.8 today. And our fingers are crossed. And I'm admonishing you, and I don't mean to admonish you, but I'm urging you to continue what you're doing, because that's the only way it's going to continue to go down. And if we can get that down into like the 3 range, I will feel much better about it. And we could probably start talking about easing up ourselves a little bit. Right? I think it feels to me like we're no longer at that place where you just have to assume everybody you see has it. Right? You should assume that anyway. Like, assume that it's out there wherever you go. But we're not at that sort of critical point anymore. We did see a spike after Christmas, but thankfully it was short and small. Okay. Now, we did see 19 fatalities today, and if you weren't paying attention on the weekend, which why would you? We did have a big day of reporting fatalities on Saturday, and I popped on for a brief live. In case you missed it, we did have 128 deaths reported on Saturday, and then 1 on Sunday, and then 19 today. So our current total death toll for Wisconsin is 5,470. That puts our 7-day average of reported deaths at 44. But the 30-day average has fallen to 39, which is good. Now, the reason we saw such a big number on Saturday, I think, is that it was basically kind of catching up for a whole bunch of fatalities that didn't get plugged into the data over the course of the month of December. I had noticed over the past, week or 10 days that just Milwaukee County wasn't reporting very many fatalities. It was like 1 or 2 here and there. So when Steph called me up, came running upstairs on Saturday and said, it's 128 deaths today. I said, I bet they're mostly in Milwaukee County, aren't they? And we went back and looked, and 73 of them were Milwaukee County. So it seems to be just a catching up of reporting. So which the bad news of that is that we were feeling better about fatalities over the course of the last few weeks, but it turns out they were high still. The fatalities weren't coming down as much as we thought. They just weren't being reported as much into the data, right? So now that with that big 1 day of catch up, now we're back to 44 deaths a day for the past week, 39 for the past month. So with 19 reported today, I can tell you where those reports are located. Again, this is still, even today, Milwaukee County is still getting caught up. 17 today, Milwaukee County, 1 in Greene County, 1 in Columbia County, and that's it for the day. Now, we will see more tomorrow, and we'll see more Wednesday, because again, Mondays, just the reporting is lower on Mondays because the county medical examiners, public health departments are not working on the weekends as much, right? Okay. Now, we what else do I need to tell you? That's a good question, JJ. I'll get to that in a second. Hospitalizations have also been going down and down and down and down. However, today they're back up just a little bit. I'm not terribly concerned about this because this is one of those measures that will go down and then up and then down and continue to go down. Today we're at 875 currently hospitalized. That is up by 22 from yesterday. So that number has gone precipitously lower, which is great. It is up today, but again, unless I see a trend of upward numbers on hospitalizations, I'm not terribly concerned. Active cases also are down to about 25,000, a little over 25,000 active cases right now. That's about 4.8% of the total 522,000 cases we've had in Wisconsin. Due to a typo, which I'm fixing right now, the number of active cases looked like it was about 25 billion. But this is why we have editors, guys. Okay. Now, JJ asks, we used to put 714 different percentages for Dane County on our website. That we used to, up until, when was that, Friday that we truncated it? That was purely when we do those Dane County numbers, we did a lot more numbers of Dane County, a lot more detailed drill down on Dane County than the state. And just this Friday and then over the weekend, it's been purely just like a matter of timing, that the data's been coming in a little bit late. I think partly because possibly because Dane County is revamping their data dashboard right now. So like in the next couple of days, it'll be like a completely different look. But also we're tremendously busy with a whole bunch of other things. So we had to grab the most prescient and the most important data points, get those up, and leave the rest off. So yeah, the answer that's a long way to say yes. We're gonna redo all. We're gonna restart that more detailed drill down for Dane County, probably starting tomorrow. Margie brings up an excellent point that I was about to get to. So thank you, Margie. That Andrea Palm, our Secretary of Health Services designee, who never actually got confirmed by the Senate by the state Senate, because for whatever reason they just didn't want to do it. She is going to be President Joe Biden's Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Services. There's a bit of if you go back long ways, if you've been around a while, you remember former University of Wisconsin Chancellor Donna Shalala got appointed to that position, to the Secretary of HHS by Bill Clinton. And then Tommy Thompson, the governor, got plucked to that job by George W. Bush, right? And now Andrea Palmer is going to be the Deputy Secretary under Joe Biden. What that means is Karen Timberlake is going to be the interim. I don't know Karen Timberlake very well. I know she's done the job before. So that's good. She did it during a pandemic before. She was on the job under Jim Doyle during H1N1. So I think it feels to me like, she's the right kind of person to jump in at this moment. You never want to disrupt things in the middle of a crisis, but that's where we are right now. I think I take it as kind of a vote of confidence from the Biden administration. Say, like, here's somebody who has managed this well enough that I want them on my team, right? So to me, I take it as a vote of confidence for the Wisconsin DHS that Andrea's done a decent job. Now, I will also say she has been at a senior level at the federal HHS under Obama. She was a special counsel, I think, or a not quite deputy secretary, but a little bit lower than that. But so she's worked in the federal HHS as well. So the appointment makes a lot of sense. But in terms of what it means for us, you're getting somebody who's done the job before, who's done it in a pandemic before, who knows her way around the state government, So, I'm feeling pretty okay about it. Okay, we'll take a short break. We have a ton of really cool news stories on the site today that I'm just going to talk through with you. So don't go away. Stay with us. I will be back in about 20 seconds. All right, today I have to admit I have not listened yet to Black Oxygen this morning because it's been a busy Monday, as Mondays typically are for me. And I really want, for this particular episode of Black Oxygen, I want to give it my full attention because the guest is Sagacious Livingston. Dr. Sagacious Livingston. She recently finished her PhD in English. She is the founder of an organization called Infamous Mothers. She's an absolute powerhouse of intellect and philosophy and history. The Infamous Mothers started as a book, and it is a book now, but it started writing a book, and then it became an organization and a kind of a movement of Black motherhood, and it's now this organization. And I'm going to give this a listen tonight, and I urge you to do the same. I think anytime we talk to Sagacious, it's just a revelation. So give that a listen. Anywhere you get your podcasts, just search for Black Oxygen, or it's at Madison365.org/podcasts. It'll be right on the top of that page. Also in the news today, this is Monica Cliff. She's been a designer, like a theater designer, a scene designer with Children's Theater of Madison for the last 10 years on a part-time basis, and is now starting a Hispanic Latino theater company called Teatro Enye. As she describes it, Enye is a letter in the Spanish language alphabet that does not exist in English. And her point is that it's going to be theater, it's going to be performing arts for kids in their native language, in Spanish, which is really key because culture and language are, really intermixed. So there's lots of theater opportunities for kids, but if you're a Hispanic kid or Latino kid, you want to do theater, you have to come over to our white people theater, so she's creating this as an opportunity for kids who speak Spanish or who are just enmeshed in Latino culture to really celebrate their own culture, their own language in the theatrical and performing arts. And she's seeking people who want to get involved right now. It doesn't have a lot of shape yet. It's like, I'm going to make this theater thing happen. Who wants to come with me? So it's really cool. Amy Wolf talked to her. That's a great story. That's on Madison365.org this morning. We also spoke with Alwyn Foster, who's relatively new to the area. He is a substance abuse counselor, and he is running for school board in Sun Prairie. We are hearing reports. I have to look this up for sure, but there are over 30 people of color running for office here in Dane County, which is unprecedented. And we're going to continue to tell these stories because it's really important that there's just all this energy among people of color running for local office, which is that's going to be really the transformative thing in this country, is these kind of folks and diversifying our local government. So Aomi spoke with Alwyn Foster about his campaign for a school board and what he hopes to accomplish in that role. Also today, this is a really fun story. This is a story that popped up. This is one of those that just kind of came to me through social media. The library, the Madison Public Library, announced on Twitter that they'd bought 5 copies of this book called Hat Trick. And then they had the author on a live stream. And then they had several players from Forward Madison on this live stream congratulating this author on this book, because this author is 12 years old. And he loves soccer. And he was really bored during quarantine. So, as you do, he wrote a 245-page novel. It's a soccer themed novel. His older brother copy edited it, so makes me feel rather unaccomplished during my quarantine time. So, Mackenzie Crum spoke with him. Has that story up on Madison365.org right now. It's a really fun story. You should really take a look at that when you can. And finally, I had this all queued up. See, Margie, I told you, Andrea Palm is leaving the state and headed to Washington, D.C. to join the Biden administration. All right, that is all I have for you today. Once again, we are a nonprofit newsroom, and we will continue, even as COVID is getting better. We're not going to let it go. We're not going to ease up. We're going to keep telling you when it's getting better, when things change, when it might get worse. We're going to keep telling you about vaccine schedules and all that stuff. So please continue to support us. This is, not only through COVID, but even when COVID's already gone, we're going to keep bringing you stories and news and information that other outlets just are not going to bring you. So feel free to, even though there's no like special matching like that, we still need your support. So Madison365.org/donate if you're able. Thank you again. You have a wonderful Monday evening, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
This is 365 Media.